No, 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 no! I'm gonna lose everything? I only have one more try?
Well. Someone's looking desperate.
Thought I told you to leave me alone.
I can help you, kid. You just need to hear out my demands.
What crazy thing do you want anyway? To eat my soul? To rip out my teeth? Are you gonna replace my eyes with baby heads or something?
Yeesh, kid, relax. All I want is a puppet.
A puppet? What are you playing at?
Everyone loves puppets, and it looks to me like you've got a surplus.
I don't know, man. Mabel worked really hard on these.
Seems to me one little puppet is a small price to pay to learn all the secrets of the universe. Besides, what's your sister done for you lately? How many times have you sacrificed for her, huh? And when has she ever returned the favor? Tick-tock, kid.
Just one puppet? Fine! So what puppet are you gonna pick anyway?
Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny.
What?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pining for the Falls. I'm Fire Princess Lily, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend Dr. C Monster. This is the podcast where everybody's just throwing a different kind of article of clothing opera. Tonight, I'll be throwing a t-shirt opera. And, Doc, what kind of opera you got? Doc? Whoa, boy. Oh, if you're talking, I cannot hear you. You had good sound, and now you don't.
Bandana?
Oh, okay, there we go. He's bandana opera.
All right, bandana.
Okay. That was some silence for a second. Okay. That's right. Yeah, so hey Doc, how are you doing?
I'm good. Work was fine, and I went to Starbucks on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
Got a green tea frappuccino.
Mm-hmm.
You like matcha?
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
So yeah, I get the green tea frappuccino. It's like a matcha milkshake. It's awesome.
Nice.
And if I'm feeling fancy, I get them to mix the Java chips in it.
Oh.
So you just get blended chocolate chips mixed into the matcha milkshake. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Very
But
cool.
be warned. Matcha is kind of bittersweet, and the Java chips are only semi-sweet, so it is slightly bitter, but it's also sweet. It's got a bitter and sweet flavor.
Mm.
It does look like mud, though.
Like mud? That sounds...
It looks like swamp. It looks like swamp mud, but it is delicious. How are you?
Feeling pretty good. Legs still kind of messed up, but that's just life. That's what happens. Really enjoying living in the world where even Fox News doesn't give Trump the time of day. That's weird.
Oh yeah, rats fleeing a sinking ship. Fleeing a sinking ship.
Yeah, I know, but it's still weird.
It is.
Like,
man, is it good.
They've been a propaganda machine for that man since before he was president. And now they're just like, nah, this guy's a liar. And it's just like, wow. What the fuck is 2020?
The next 4 years are going to be putting Joe Biden's feet to the fire and collectively forcing our Overton window back.
Yeah, we're gonna be fighting for some change. That should date this particular podcast a little bit. We're in the continuity currently where Joe Biden is the presidential elect, and that means that he should be president. But we live with Donald Trump in power, so who knows? I'm trying.
We got 9 weeks for shit to continue going wrong.
Yeah.
So.
I really, I'm trying not to hope too hard because I just feel like, I feel like I could jinx it. You know what I mean? It's hard to hope in 2020.
Yeah, we're just gonna. I don't know. Things might be turning around. Weekly World News is coming back.
Hey, that's cool.
I almost cried when I read that. It was like one of my very favorite things to do as a child was to. I'd get the Weekly World News. I'd go to the snack counter in Walmart back when Walmart had its own snack counter and it wasn't just a McDonald's, and you could get like, and they just had burgers and hot dogs and stuff. But I would get a burger, I'd get my Weekly World News, I'd read my Weekly World News, I'd eat my snack while my grandmother did all her Walmart shopping, and it was nice. And I have very fun, and I always knew the Weekly World News was a joke. It was obvious. Even when I was a kid, I was like, okay, this is like a shitpost, basically. Weekly World News is a shitpost.
All right.
More so than other, because the stories are always very outlandish. It's stuff like Bigfoot and aliens, but it makes no pretense of being serious. It pretends it. I'm explaining it poorly, but everything's written as if it's true, but they make no attempt to hide the fact that it's patently bullshit. We didn't have the Onion in the 90s,
right?
Or the hard times, or
any of that stuff,
let's see what else. Plus the satirical news.
I mean, I'd say the Babylon Bee, but they suck.
I have a friend, or somebody who used to be my friend. I went to his, and I'm in his one of his Discord server for stuff. I don't really go there anymore because I was just there as a favor. I set up there as a favor to him, and but I never really hung out there because it's a lot of people I don't know, so I just don't go there. But I've still got it on my Discord list. I checked in a couple weeks ago, and he was linking stuff. He was linking to the Babylon Bee, and it's oh, okay. I'm just gonna turn back around and not come back.
Yeah. Time for me to get on going now.
It's another one, Duffel Blog. Duffel Blog's good though.
So yeah.
You know Duffel Blog, right?
No. Incorrect.
Military satire. Satire of the military. The satirical news. It is a satirical news site of the military, and it's good. It is good.
Very cool.
It's popular with my ex-military friends.
Let's see. What else has been going on other than major election?
Gritty.
The gritty is still kind of election stuff though. Kinda.
That's fair.
Because we're still talking about Philadelphia, that flipped Pennsylvania for us. Thank you, Philadelphia. I mean, some other places helped, but
Gritty is the guardian deity of Philadelphia.
Yes.
I am under his protection because I married into a Philadelphia family.
Right.
So I can talk about Gritty. I have Gritty privileges.
I just think it's funny that a bunch of people from all over who supported Trump were we're going to go to Philly and we're going to intimidate these people with our guns and we're going to beat people up. And I just kept thinking, man, they got Gritty. He is that is the mascot of their choice. They chose that thing. I love Gritty, but it's a nightmare.
I go to Philadelphia about once or twice a year, and it is a city of fuck around and find out.
Yeah, that is their unofficial slogan. I would not fuck around in Philly. No. Just if you're going there, go get yourself a cheesesteak and a Coke and just fucking chill, because if you fucking press your luck, Philadelphia is the Limerick of the United States.
Limerick?
Yeah, Limerick,
Limerick.
Ireland.
Oh, yeah, Limerick, Ireland, yeah.
Yeah. In Limerick, Ireland, you will get stabbed for saying limericks. It's just going to happen. So, yeah, Philadelphia, the Limerick of the United States. Let's see. Haven't been really Well, I've been keeping up with DuckTales. You know, that's like the only animation I've been watching. It's been a week. You know, but there was wrestling. There was big wrestling, which is why we didn't record on Saturday for the other podcast, because that's when the wrestling was on. And
I honestly have no idea what happened last week. I can't remember it. It's just a blur of election.
Right.
I think. Well, also my back was fucked up.
Yeah, your back was fucked up.
So I spent half of last week in bed. Beyond the normal amount of time you spend in bed sleeping.
Right.
About half of my waking hours in bed, rather. So, like, it was just me and my phone and election news and too crippled to walk. Sucked. But the past year's actually been good, you know,
Yeah.
Beyond, positive-ish election news. You know, I got my first paycheck from being back at work. Things are decent for me, reasonably. My car had a flat this morning, but they were able to patch it.
That's
at
good.
Discount Tire is a good place. I think they're regional, but like if you have a Discount Tire in your area, you should go there for tires.
We do somewhere.
Well, they will also they will also give you air for free, and they will patch for free. They will patch a flat. If a flat is fixable, they will patch it for free.
Let's see, the closest Discount Tires are like 40-ish minutes away from me. So not really a place to like go just because I need to like get air in my tire.
No.
It's a little far. And my wife and her family love the regional store up here called The Schwab. And so they're too far away for me to like reasonably tow a flat too, you know. Because I don't know what it is about like cars up here, or car salespeople up here, I should say. But you can choose between either getting a fix-a-flat like thing or a spare tire. And they don't really tell you that, and they default to the fix-a-flat thing. It's like a thing that plugs into like your cigarette lighter. Or I guess it's just an aux port now. Well, not aux, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
An AC port. There we go. That's what those things are called. They used to have cigarette lighters, okay? They don't do that anymore. I'm old. So they don't tell you that. So my wife doesn't have a spare tire, so it's not like I can like get a flat and go, oh, I should just go down to the Discount Tire, you know, like 40 minutes away. I can ride around on a donut for a little while. Nuh-uh. Don't have that. Don't have a spare.
You know, it's actually kind of funny. We used to have a cigarette lighter in cars.
Mm-hmm.
They took that out and replaced it with the AC port. But now people charge their vapes in the AC port.
I mean, the AC port is just
Live in a society.
Lighter. It's just not.
Live in a society.
It just doesn't have the second part of the cigarette lighter.
Yeah, it doesn't have the little thing, which I have burned myself on more times than I care to admit.
Oh yeah, those things suck.
As a child.
I think my year of car for my first car, like I had a 2002 Toyota Echo. I think that was some of the last years where they put in the cigarette lighter, because I had a cigarette lighter, which was bad for everybody, honestly, because I started smoking because it was there. I also started lighting fireworks from my car and throwing them out the window. Because why wouldn't you? I mean, you have something to light it with. Not good. Not good. I got real 70s there for a second. But wrestling was good. Lots of things happened. Big matches. We have new tag champs, which I honestly didn't see coming. What's that noise?
Tumblr.
Oh, okay.
There's this great thing. It's like a screen cap of a survey or something, and it says, in regard to sexual orientation, do you think of yourself as straight or heterosexual? I do not understand the question. Prefer to discuss with my doctor or practitioner. Prefer not to answer. More options. The comment on this is, yes, the sexualities. Straight, confused, I don't have to tell you. What are you, a cop? Fuck off. And more. Trademark.
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah, we have new tag champs. Didn't see that coming because the Young Bucks gave themselves a stipulation that if they lost the match, they couldn't challenge for the tag champs anymore. Which, you know, you would think that would mean, like, oh, then they're definitely winning. Except for FTR, who I still don't like. Like, they can wrestle. They're fine. I just don't like them as people. FTR just won those things, like, in September. Like, so it seems like a real quick turnaround. So I thought, okay, somebody's going to get involved, and then the Young Bucks are going to lose, but they'll claim because that person got involved, they don't have to, like, live up to the stipulation they set for themselves. Which is fine. That would have been fine. But no, they instead just won it. Which is still cool. Really great tag match. Not the greatest tag match I've ever seen, but still good. And we have a new TNT champ. Darby Allin pulled one over Cody, which was nice. I enjoyed that. Because it was time for Cody to not be champion anymore. I mean, he was not champion for, like, a total of 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe 3, somewhere around there, because he was filming like a TV show. So he gave the title to Brody while he was doing that, and then he came back and immediately got his title back. I mean, the dog collar match was super awesome and neat, but I still don't think he should have gotten his title back. But it's fine. It's on Darby now, which, you know, Darby's worked really hard. He kind of deserves it, so we're good. And then we got to the women's match, and we don't have a new champion, and we should have a new champion. Because Hikaru Shida, she's wrestled everybody, just about. Like, there's a couple of newer people in the division that she hasn't wrestled that I guess could give her a run for the title, but it just feels like she's done everything. She's been champ too long, and they don't hardly use her. Like, 90% of the time, she's in the crowd. She's not wrestling. She's not on the show. Like, you can have the TNT title on every single show, but you can't, like, you know, use the women's title, like, you know, every so often. Like, that fucking sucks. So it just feels like they should have just changed that title. Like, suck. Anyway, that's wrestling. I won't get into it too deep this week. I am, like I said, I'm disappointed in the women's match. Everything else was spectacular. I think they're just going to have a hardcore match every year for Full Gear. Because last year they had a Lights Out match, which was basically a death match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. And this year they had an I Quit match between Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, which is basically a death match. So I think they're just going to have that every year for Full Gear. Pretty brutal. I think the one between Kenny and Mox was worse in terms of, like, brutality. Lots of, like, Kenny put glass in Jon Moxley's mouth and, like, stomped on his head. Like, that's, yeah.
It wasn't. Was it real glass?
There was blood afterwards, so I mean, some of it maybe.
I'm sure it was that sugar glass they used for props.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it would have to be. Oh, it was not a good visual, though. Kenny Omega also hung Jon Moxley from the ring via a chain around his neck. Like, it was a pretty messed up match. The most messed up thing to happen in the I Quit match is that after throwing Jon onto a bunch of thumbtacks, which you can't fake thumbtacks. You can't fake that, kids. Yeah, thumbtack spots, like, like I said, I saw Kenny Omega put glass in a man's mouth, but thumbtack spots are still like, surf, because it's real. You cannot fake thumbtacks. And they were like all in John. They're like in his arms and his back. Kingston picked up a handful of them and slammed him against the top of his skull. Like, so thumbtacks suck. And then he got rubbing alcohol and sprayed it all over Jon Moxley. I mean, that probably maybe was just a bottle of actual water made to look like rubbing alcohol, but it also could have just been rubbing alcohol. So
I have no idea. I don't know how. I don't know what they use for props.
It was a bottle of Equate rubbing alcohol. I just mean they could have emptied it and filled it with water.
I mean, rubbing alcohol is not going to hurt you.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts when you in cuts.
It'll hurt it'll burn in a cut, but like it won't injure you.
Yeah, no. But it's an I Quit match, so more pain.
Yeah.
Made the person say I quit. The only reason it ended is because Jon Moxley wrapped barbed wire around his arm. It was gimmicked barbed wire, so like everybody who heard that, like, holy shit, like it's fine, but it still looks real painful. Like some of the barbs are sharp, because they have to cut. For that realism, and then he put Eddie Kingston in a chokehold with that barbed wire arm, and basically he's like, you don't quit, you're going to die. This is it. You have to say I quit. I'm going to kill you. So Jon Moxley retains his title, and we're gonna get Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley for the title sometime soon. And it's going to be an absolute banger. So I'm excited. Okay, that's wrestling. I'm sorry. It was a big week for wrestling. Do you want to talk about Gravity Falls? I don't have a good segue.
I'd love to.
All right, this week we watched season 2, episode 4, Sock Opera. It is a Mabel episode on one end and a standard Gravity Falls episode on the other. It's like a good half and half, I feel.
Yeah, there's not a clear line between A plot and B plot, and they kind of intersect at the end.
Yeah.
So like it's not really it's not the kind of thing you can just say, oh well, there's the A plot and the B plot.
Right.
There are two plot lines running, and they kind of cross paths back and forth. Yeah,
very intersectional. We open on the library of Gravity Falls, which I need to mute this. And there's some good props or sites, like a book reading a book and then they're screaming at each other in fear. That's good. I like that. It says read ? But we're basically opening on the twins here in the library, and Dipper's like, all right, Mabel, today's the big day. Soos fixed that laptop. I am so excited. If this thing works, I can learn the identity of the author of the journals, all the great mysteries of Gravity Falls. So are you ready? And Mabel's like, yeah, I'm totally ready, baby. She opens up a book that says ready, baby. So he boots up the laptop, and it's going. He's like, oh my god, this is it. It's starting. Yes. It started. It works. This is great. Oh my god. And that's when it asks for a password. And it's like, password, of course. Why wouldn't there be a password? And Mabel's like, don't worry, guy. With your brains and my laser focus, okay, Mabel, we're going to crack this password like nothing. Nothing's going to distract us from this. And that's when piano music plays. And Mabel's like, wait, what's going on? And we cut over to a blonde boy with a ponytail, a keyboard, and a bee puppet. And he's singing a song about literacy, and he's doing puppet stuff. It's very fucking dorky. There's a book puppet now, and they start making out. The puppets start making out. It's weird.
Okay. I have a question about Gabe. Why does he have such a well-defined jawline? Isn't he like 13?
Some people just
Because That jawline could cut glass.
Some people just have good genetics. If you're into that kind of thing.
You're into jawlines that are shaped like a state.
But Mabel's laser focus is broken. She's zeroed in on a boy. She's opening her Ready Baby book again to like the heart section. It's a pop-up book, and she's making bump sounds. And they were like, what the fuck's going on? We go through the credits, cut back into the library, and Gabe is just, he's like, I'm a great puppeteer. Thank you. Mabel's like, just when I was getting over Armando, of course you show up on my doorstep. And Deborah's like, oh yeah, I forgot about Armando. Did not care for Armando. So he's picking up like books to try to help crack the code. And he's like, are you ready to like do this, Mabel? Mabel's gone. We cut back over to Gabe, who's singing a song about not sticking your hands in other people's mouths. And then he ends the show. It was bad. I did not like it. He thanks his puppets.
Look, it is a good moral. I'll give it that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't care for Gabe.
No, he's weird.
He's weird, and I do not like him.
We'll see how much we don't like him later.
Probably. I can't believe this got more views than Soos and the Real Girl. Maybe this is why Soos and the Real Girl didn't get a lot of views, because people saw this episode and were like, I mean, it's still not a bad episode overall. I just don't like Gabe, and there's a lot of him.
This is one like the Mabel crush part of the plot is probably the weakest part of the story.
Right.
And like by this point in the series, that joke is running thin.
Yeah.
Like they got rid of the Dipper Dipper's crush on Wendy subplot early in the season, and but they have not like gotten the Mabel crushes out of their system yet.
They have not, and so the puppets start fighting, and Gabe's like, "Hey, come on, guys, we good to each other." That's when Mabel rolls in. She's like, guess who's Mabel? I am. Care to learn more? I bet you do. You like to learn. That's when she falls off her book cart, and she's like, yeah. But they introduce themselves to each other.
That's what happens when you roll a 1 on your seduction check.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad pickup line, but falling off the
cart
thing is different. Falling off the cart, that's your fumble right there.
Absolutely. Mabel's like, you're amazing with those puppets. He's like, really? A lot of people think puppets are dumb or just for kids or something. Man, you are a kid. Mabel's like, are you kidding me? I'm crazy about puppet. People call me Puppet Crazy Mabel. He's like, oh my god, really? People used to call me Puppet Crazy Gabe. So when's your next puppet show? She's like, It's like, you can't truly love puppets unless you're not throwing like puppet shows. She's like, yeah, I mean, I'm totally working on a puppet show. He's like, oh, I want the details. He's like, oh, there's so many details. I'm not lying. We come back over to Dipper, who's trying to get the password. He guesses password, and
Mabel sure starts lying very easily.
Yes, she does. She does not have a good moral compass.
She really doesn't.
She does not.
She's low-key a sociopath.
Mabel comes back over as Dipper's trying to figure out these passwords, and he's like, okay, so how did it go? And she's like, Dipper, how hard do you think it would be to write and compose a sock puppet rock opera with lights, original music, and live pyrotechnics? And he's like, Mabel, are you serious? She's like, I don't know what happened. I got lost in his eyes and his ponytail, and it's going to be so embarrassed on Friday when I don't have anything. And Dipper's like, yeah, but what about cracking this password? You know, mystery twins. And I was like, if you could just help me out with this for a couple of days, I promise to help you with the password. Please, pretty please. It's for love, Dipper. Dipper's like, all right, fine. And she, like, tackle hugs him and starts shouting to the library, hey, this guy, he's number one. And he's like, fine, okay, shush, library. Dipper's like, I cannot wait to get to the bottom of this laptop, though. I feel like there's something big there, and we're close to it. And they're walking out of the library, and they walk past a big window with the sun shining in, so you see their shadows, but as they walk past, a triangle-shaped shadow with a top hat also floats on by.
Ominous shadow.
Ominous shadow. Mabel is buying all kinds of stuff for her sock opera. Dipper is trying with these passwords. It's a montage of them making sock puppets and passwording. That's what's going on here. It's a lot. Dipper keeps trying passwords. He keeps failing passwords. They keep making puppets. Waddles is covered in socks. Finally, we get to Mabel saying, I finally know I'm going to call this opera. Love Story, a sock opera. And she's like, just for warning, people's eyes will get wet because they'll be crying from laughing and from how tragic it is. And Dipper's like, yeah, sounds great, as he's trying to pull socks off his face.
Okay, I gotta say, I know you're watching this on mute, but the delivery of that line is excellent. It's people's eyes will be wet from crying, from laughing, because it's so tragic.
Yeah.
The delivery of that line is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kristen Shaw is a fucking artist.
She is.
She's also a horse. But that's not relevant at the moment.
Not at the moment. But Wendy's like, come on, Dipper, you just gotta roll with Mabel's craziness, It makes life worth living. Grunkle Stan walks in as Mabel sings one of her puppet songs, and he's like, I'm not even gonna ask. We cut to everybody going to bed, or Mabel going to bed, and she's surrounded by sock puppets, including 2 puppets on her bedpost that are her and Gabe. She says, good night to the puppets, makes the Gabe puppet kiss the Mabel puppet. Dipper's not going to sleep. He's like, I keep getting this password wrong. And she's like, don't stay up all night, Dipper. Last time you got this sleep deprived, you tried to eat your own shirt. Which we cut over to Dipper chewing on his shirt. He's like, bleh. He's like, just a few more tries. And he keeps putting in passwords. He's going deep into the night. He's surrounded by pit cola cans. And he's like, I can't take this failure sound anymore. I hate this sound. He's beating on the laptop. He's like, there has to be some kind of shortcut or clue. Somebody who would know secret codes. That's when the wind picks up. And the trees start rustling. And the moon turns into an eyeball, which shines down on Dipper. And he's like, oh, shit. A triangle forms around that eye, and everything goes to grayscale as Bill Cipher appears. It's our buddy Bill. Everybody likes the Dorito.
Razzle Dazzle Dorito.
Razzle Dazzle Dorito's here. He's like, well. You're an awfully persistent pine tree. Hats off to you. He takes off his hat and the world tips. He's like, you miss me. Admit it, you miss me. He's like, no, I didn't. You worked with Gideon and you tried to destroy my uncle's mind. Yeah, it was just a job. No hard feelings, kid. I'd be keeping an eye on you. And I must say, I'm always impressed. And Dipper's like, really? It's like, yeah, you deserve a prize. Here, have a head that's always screaming. Yeah. I'm not going to say it is a vampire head, but it looks like a vampire head. And just starts screaming.
Honestly, I would appreciate a free screaming head.
I mean, it would be nice, but then Bill unravels it.
Yeah.
Which is not a great visual.
He skins it?
Yeah.
It's weird. He flays it in circles. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
This is the thing. This is one of the things that's weird about Bill. It's like he kind of acts like he doesn't know what he's doing, but he does actually really understand people. He knows he's doing something fucked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's not doing something that he thinks is okay. He's doing something that he knows is fucked up just to get a rise out of people. Like that's the thing about that's one of the things about Bill as an antagonist, because like extraplanar beings and eldritch horrors, they're often played off as like unknowable and having weird motivations and not understanding humans. But Bill Cipher very much has very understandable motivations and he's a very human mind.
Yes.
And he also understands people. So all the fucked up shit he does to screw with people's heads is entirely on purpose.
Absolutely. Bill says that the point is he likes Dipper, and he's like, how about you let me give you a hint, huh? The only thing I asked for is a small favor in return. And Dipper's like, no, you're not going to trick me. Don't forget who defeated you last time. He's like, right, you defeated me. Well, if you ever change your mind, I'll be here for you, ready to make a deal. And, hey, you want to hear my impression about you in 3 seconds? He starts screaming. And that's when Dipper wakes up screaming. He's like, oh, it's morning. We cut in on the kitchen of the Pines family. And Mabel's doing her best Grunkle Stan impression with a puppet. And Grunkle Stan's like, I am still ignoring this.
Honestly, it's not a bad decision.
Not a bad decision. A Dipper walks in. He's got dark back circles under his eyes. Everyone's like, whoa, bad check for Dipper's eyes. Nobody. And Mabel's like, I told you to get some sleep last night. Here, wake up with some Mabel juice. It has plastic dinosaurs in it.
Again with the Mabel juice. This girl has a serious problem.
She does. Grunkle Stan says, it's like if Coffee and Nightmares had a baby.
Even Stan is concerned, and he's seen some shit.
Yeah.
Stan lived through the 60s and the 70s, and he's seen some shit.
He has. He's also done the drugs.
Yeah.
Dipper pulls Mabel out of the kitchen, and she's like, hey, last night I had a dream with Bill in it. He's like, wait, hold up, the triangle guy? He's like, yeah, he said he'd give me the code of the laptop if I gave him something. Like, I'd actually trust Bill, right? She's like, don't worry, bro. Today's the day that the mystery twins are back in action. I'll be crack that code. Just gotta hand the puppet stuff to my production crew. He's like, production crew? And that's when Grinda and Candy show up. And they're like, we read the script. It's very emotional. Grinda says, I cried like 8 times. This is when Gabe rollerblades up. Like, okay, confession, I loved rollerblades as a kid. Like, my mom took us skating every Saturday. Well, every Sunday. Like, after church, we'd get McDonald's, then we'd go skating. Like, so, I got super into skating, and I probably still could skate pretty well on rollerblades.
Okay, well, you can answer this question for me.
Sure.
Can you rollerblade on dirt?
You can, but you probably want to get the special dirt wheels so you don't fuck up your wheels.
Because he has rollerbladed all the way to the Mystery Shack, which is in the woods on a dirt road.
Yeah.
And he's rollerblading on dirt this entire scene.
Yeah, it's not good for those wheels. So, yeah. But what?
Still got the puppets on.
You still got the puppet. He's still got the puppets on because, as we'll find out later in the episode, he is fucking insane. But the reason I brought that up is because Gabe makes rollerblading look douchey.
Yeah.
And I realize already that people already do not have a good opinion of rollerblading, especially after the Brink movie, which I watched 1,000,000 times as a kid. I fucking love Brink. It's a dumbass movie. But man, he makes it look just so fucking smug. I hate this guy.
He's got a ponytail, and honestly, I say this as somebody who ties his hair back, ponytails are a little douchey.
A little bit. But Mabel's like, hey, Gabe, you're here. I can't believe it. He's like, yeah, I was just blading by. Fuck this guy. Haha. And he's like, waves out his ponytail. Grinda and Candy are also super impressed with Gabe. Candy in Korean says, I must steal him away from Mabel. At least I assume it's Korean because this is the same voice actor who does BMO, and they're Korean.
I believe it is Korean. I believe Kenny speaks Korean, yes.
Yeah. So. But Mabel's like, oh, it's great to see you. We're just working on the world's greatest puppet show. It has puppets. And Gabe's like, your passion is so refreshing. Unlike that girl from the last night's puppet show, a single stitch on one puppet and a cross stitch on the other. Ugh. I was like, He's like, cross, huh? It's like, naturally, I deleted her off my cell phone contact list. She's like, naturally. She's like, don't worry, I know you wouldn't do that to me. You must be a puppet expert. Grinda says, Gabe, you look pretty sweaty. You should really take your shirt off. Which is weird. But it's also Grinda. She's kind of weird.
Grinda's a bit thirsty.
She's very thirsty. She's like, we're all thinking it, right? But Gabe blades off. Ugh. And Mabel freaks out. She's like, we gotta upgrade her. Gabe, did you hear the thing about, you said about stitches? And Grinda's like, don't worry. Your crew can handle it. And she tears the arms off the Grinda puppet. And Candy pulls up a puppet that has way too many eyes. She's like, is this enough eyes? And everybody's just messing up everything for this sock opera. And Mabel's like, okay, I'm back on fabrication. Let me get my lint roller. And Dipper's like, whoa, hey, you said you were going to help me. And she's like, look, a sock crisis just bumped into my life. And that laptop can wait. Which, okay, I know Dipper really wants to crack the laptop. I get that, right? And he's been waiting on Mabel all week. But she's not necessarily wrong.
Eventually, Dipper...
The laptop could have waited.
Eventually, Dipper is going to have to learn that you can't rely on Mabel when she's been hitting the sauce.
Yeah. I mean, he won't learn that lesson until he's, in his 20s. But,
Yeah.
I don't think that Mabel doesn't have a point, is what I'm trying to get at. I think she's right.
At this point, it's still reasonable.
Yeah. And Dipper's like, I can't believe you're pushing me back for, your random crush of the week. How is that more important than the mysteries of this town? And she's like, I'm obsessed. Look at you. You look like a vampire and not the hot kind. It's like, but you said you were going to help me today. Well, I can help you with tickles. And she starts tickling Dipper. And he's like, no, stop it. He's like, fine. I'll do it on my own. And he keeps putting in passwords. We cut over to him putting in passwords. Mabel is useless. He yawns. He's like, oh, man. That's when the computer says, too many failed entries. Initiate data erase in 5 minutes. And Dipper's like, no, I'm going to lose everything? I only have one more try? And that's when the room goes to grayscale and Bill appears. He's like, well. Someone's looking desperate. He's like, man, I told you to leave me alone. He's like, look, I can help you, kid. You just need to hear my demands. And Dipper's like, fine, what kind of crazy thing do you want anyway? To eat my soul? To rip out my teeth? You gonna replace my eyes with screaming heads or something? He's like, whoa, relax, kid. I just want a puppet. That's all. He's like, a puppet? What are you playing at? He's like, everyone loves puppets. And it looks like you got a surplus. He's like, I don't know, man. Maybe we work really hard on these. It seems like a small price to pay is one little puppet to learn all the secrets of the universe. Besides, what's your sister done for you lately? How many times have you sacrificed for her, huh? When has she ever returned the favor? And he plays a bunch of scenes of Dipper being selfless for Mabel. And Dipper looks out the window to Mabel doing sock opera shit. And he's like, He looks back to the computer, which is about to, delete itself. And Bill puts out his hand. He's like, come on, kid. Tick-tock. He's like, fine, just one puppet. Fine. And he shakes Bill's hand, which...
Bill kind of makes a really good point, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, look. Why there's a saying that I like to use when people, accuse me of lying, which maybe is not necessarily the best saying to use, is, why would the devil lie when the truth serves just as well? I mean, I'm not the devil, but the point is, why do I need to be dishonest when I can just be honest with you and still get what I want?
I make a point of not lying when I do things because then people will not believe you when it's more important.
Yeah.
There's a reason that we teach the boy who cried wolf to children.
Right. I always try not to lie. Sometimes I do. Sometimes you gotta. Like there.
Yeah, and that's why you tell the truth most of the time, so you can get away with the occasional lie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Morals for children on our podcast.
On our podcast. But Dipper says, "Okay, so what puppet are you gonna pick anyway?" He's like, "Let's see, eeny, meeny, miny, you," and he rips Dipper's soul out of his body. Just boop. And Dipper's like, "Oh my god, this cannot be happy. What did you do to my body?" And that's when Dipper's body stands up, and he has Bill eyes. He's like, "Sorry, kid, but you're my puppet now." And that's when he breaks the laptop. He's like, "Oh my gosh, this can't be happening." We watched Bill stumble around to Dipper's body. He's like, man, it's been so long since I've inhabited a body. Oh, whew. He starts slapping himself and cackling. He's like, pain is hilarious. 2 eyes? This thing's deluxe.
Which is one of my favorite lines of the entire series.
It's a pretty good line. He's like, why are you doing this? I thought we had a deal. He's like, look, kid, you're getting way too close to figuring out some major answers. I got big plans coming, and I don't need you getting in my way. Destroying that laptop was a cinch. Now I just need to destroy your journal. Race you to the bottom of the stairs. And that's when he falls down the stairs on purpose. Dipper flies through the floors and through the walls. He's looking everywhere for Bill. He's like, hey, human soda. I'm going to drink like a person. And he just pours into his mouth until it's overflowing, and then onto his eyes. He's like, where do you keep that journal anyway? It's got to be around here somewhere. And he's slamming his Dipper's hand into drawers, and it's pretty good. He's like, boy, arms are durable. He pulls out that arm, and there's forks stuck in it. Dipper's like, you'll never find it in a million years. Mabel's like, hey, Dipper, I borrowed your journal for you to use as a prop in the show. Okay, bye. And that's when Bill smiles at Dipper. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure, that sounds great. I'll just follow you. And Dipper's like, wait, Mabel, no, that's not me. Don't listen to him. And nobody can see Dipper. They drive away. They actually just drive through him. Bill says, hey, just, you know what? Basically, without a body, you're just a ghost. So nobody can see you or hear you. Dipper tries to talk to Wendy and Soos, even though he's just been told that nobody can hear him. As they're talking to Bill Dipper, they're like, hey, you coming with us to the sock opera? We'll give you a ride. And Dipper's like, oh, I'm going to stop you, Bill. I want to find you, and I'm going to stop you before you get that journal. And Bill says, but how can you stop me if you don't exist? It's very, very creepy. And Dipper's left to the Mystery Shack as a ghost. He's flying through town now. We've cut over to him, flying through town. He's like, I gotta somehow get my body back. And so he flies into where the sock opera's happening. And we see Bill Dipper being creepy with Wendy and Soos.
A little bit, yeah.
And
like he's normal creepy with Soos, like, hey, you want to know the exact time and date of your death?
Yeah.
But like with Wendy, he's like, hey, Red. It's like, what the, dude, not cool.
And he's sitting in the same seat that Wendy is sitting in. It's weird.
It is.
Soos actually agrees to hearing about when he's gonna die. But Mabel runs up and says, hey, I can't believe you guys all made it. He's like, and Stan's like, of course we made it. We would never miss whatever this is. Bill Dipper says, by the way, Mabel, where'd you put my journal again? She's like, I used it as a prop for the big wedding scene. I still need a reverend, though. He's like, hey, what if I played the reverend? I mean, somebody's got to hold that journal, right? She's like, yeah, great, let's go. She's like, no, Mabel. Dipper is still a ghost, cannot be heard. I don't know why he's trying so hard. This is when Gabe shows up. He's still wearing his puppets. I don't like this guy. Grinda comes over to the loudspeaker and tells everybody that the show's on again. Please turn off your cell phones, unless you're texting me, cuties.
She's real thirsty.
She's so thirsty. The curtains pull back. Candy is playing the keyboard, painted up like David Bowie. And they sing in a song about the girl who almost had everything. It's a song about Mabel. And it's a bunch of puppets. And they're all singing. There's lights. I was like, I'm not going over all the lyrics, but Gabe is super fucking impressed by all the production and the puppets.
You know, they're writing self-insert fiction, and they're literally making your art about how cool you are.
Right.
It's a bit egotistical.
A bit. That's when Puppet Gabe shows up. Gosh, there's just a lot of going on here. It's we're just montaging past it. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
We cut over to Bill Dipper, who's asking Grinda, "Hey, where's that book prop I'm supposed to use for the big wedding scene?" And she's like, "It's up in the cake, but that doesn't come down until Act 3, so hold your horses." It's like, "Oh, I'll hold my horses. I'll hold them." You monster. Like, weird thing for Bill to say about somebody, honestly. Because he knows some real monsters. Dipper once again tries to get Grinda's attention. Or anybody's attention. And he's like, "Oh my god, nobody can hear me. If only I had a vessel, but where would I find a..." And that's when he looks at the sock puppet pile. And he possesses a sock puppet. He does that off screen. But
didn't Mabel shoot him? Didn't Mabel shoot him in the eye last time?
Bill?
Yeah, I think Mabel shot Bill in the eye during the dream fight.
I believe so, yeah.
That might be why he's holding a grudge.
Might be. We cut back over to the puppet play, and the gay puppet says, "I'm sorry, Mabel, but I have to go fight in the war." Ah. There's a war scene. And a big sock monster of some kind. Puppet Mabel is like, "I'll wait for you, Gabe. I'll wait for you." And then the curtain closes. And it's intermission. The crowd is like, "What the?" They're like, "Oh, this is cool. I like this." Which is weird to me. Because why? That's when the Dipper puppet comes up next to the fountain that Mabel's drinking from. It's like, "Hey, psst, Mabel." Mabel spits out her water. She's like, "Oh my god, it's come to life. The puppet book didn't warn me about this." And she throws a fork at Puppet Dipper. It's like, "Mabel, it's me. It's Dipper. You need to help me." She's like, "Wait, what, Dipper? But you're so much. You're more of a sock. You're much more of a sock than usual." He's like, "Listen, Mabel, Bill tricked me. He stole my body, and now he's after the journal. But you have to find the journal before Bill destroys it. It's my only hope of getting my body back." And she's like, "But my cue's coming up any minute." That is when Gabe shows up, and he's like, "Hey, do you have a moment, Mabel?" She's like, "Gabe!" She pulls the Dipper puppet behind her back, which unfortunately throws Dipper to the ground. And he's like, "Look, Mabel, it's clear that you really love puppets. I mean, you went through the whole thing, and if you stick your ending, then, well, maybe we could talk later. And get, like, a biscotti and some coffee." And Mabel's like, "You drive a biscotti?" Which, no, Mabel. Bad. Mabel's, like, super impressed as Gabe leaves. Like, "Did you hear that? He loves it. So, I gotta go through this. Can't this just wait until after the show?" He's like, "Mabel, do you want me to be a sock puppet forever?" And she's like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "You're kind of funny when you're mad like this." We get a good reference to Kermit the Frog here. It's a good visual reference. As Dipper pulls the sock's face in real tight for an angry face.
I have a love-hate relationship with biscotti.
Mabel's like, "Hey, just hang out. We're going to get through this, but I do have to go do the sock opera." And so Gabe Puppet has come back from the war. And it asks, "Hey, do you want to kiss and sing at the same time?" Gabe Puppet is in a wheelchair, by the way. And so they do that. They kiss. Oh, Dipper is doing the puppetry for Mabel now. That's right. And everybody's clapping for this. At least Mabel is trying not to let Dipper down. She gets to where the journal is. She hops She's trying to pull it out of the wedding cake, and she falls into the wedding cake, and it comes down in the middle of the scene. But it doesn't fall all the way down. Instead, it's being pulled back up. And who's pulling it up? It's Bill Cipher. Bill Dipper. Blipper. Bipper. Whatever. And he's like, hey, you wouldn't want to ruin the show, would you? He's like, so how about you just hand over that book before I let you fall? She's like, no way, it's Dipper's. I never give it away. She's like, you didn't seem to have a problem for taking it for your own for the play or ditching him when he need you. So come to your senses and give me that book or your play is ruined. She's like, sigh. Here it is. She's like, yeah, I knew you would do it. You would just like, who would sacrifice everything for their dumb sibling? And Mabel's like, Dipper would. And so she pulls the book back after almost giving it to Bill. And she pulls Bill into the wedding cake. As we cut back to the play of Grunkle saying, Grunkle Puppet saying, Mabel, you're a woman now. Waddles, bring the rings. And that's when real Waddles shows up with the rings, not a puppet Waddles. And that's when everything comes crashing to the floor. The wedding cake, Bipper and Mabel are fighting. She's like, get out of my brother's body, you evil triangle. Grunkle pulls out his video camera. He's like, children fighting. Yes, I can sell this. And so Mabel gets the book away from Bipper, and he's like, you can't beat me. I'm a being of pure energy with no weakness. And she's like, true, but you're in Dipper's body, and I know all his weaknesses. He's like, what do you mean his? And that's when she starts tickling Bill, and he's like, body spasms. Wait, what are these? He's like, a little note about the human body. You haven't slept in over 24 hours. And also, I got a night of full sleep and 4 mega shots of Mabel juice.
4 mega shots of Mabel juice.
That's bad.
Jesus Christ.
Mabel is running around, just running away from Bipper. And he's like, oh my god, what's going on? My body, it's burning. I can't move these stupid noodle legs. Curse you useless flesh sticks. Body shutting down. And must scratch. Mosquito bites. Ugh. And Bipper falls over exhausted and out of Dipper's body. Only for Dipper to pop right back into his body. He's like, yes, I made it. I'm in my own body. It's just as underwhelming as I remember. Ugh. Everything hurts. There's evil laughter, and the Dipper puppet is now speaking. It's Bill and the Dipper puppet. He's like, this isn't the last you hear of me. I'll be back. Big things are coming. You can't stop me. And Mabel says, sorry, Gabe, as she hits the button for the big finish. It's the pyrotechnics, and they just go crazy. They destroy all the puppets. It's very dramatic. There's opera music playing over this as the stand puppet flies through the air on fire. And Gabe is just looking on in sheer terror. Which I enjoy that look on his face. Everything blows up. Everything's on fire. It's good. It's a standard Pine Twins fiasco.
Not just any opera music. Ave Maria.
Yes, it is Ave Maria. Mabel says, don't worry. I've seen enough movies to know that this is the part where the audience thinks that it was all part of the show and loves it. Cue applause. And everybody is like, boo, this sucks. And they leave.
And it did.
And she's like, Gabe, stick around for the rap party. We got mini quiches. And he's like, don't speak to me, Mabel. You've made a mockery of my art form. Let's go, my loves. And he starts making out with his puppets, which he sucks. He sucks so bad.
Look, on the one hand, I would have stayed for the mini quiches. On the other hand, making out with your own sock puppets, I think we've all been there.
No. I'm leaving you out to hang on this one. No. Dipper says... Go ahead. Sorry.
It's more than one definition of sock puppet.
So Dipper says, did he just make out with his puppets? And Mabel's like, yeah, I think I might have just dodged a bullet there. That's when Candy runs up and she screams, wait, Gabe, Candy still loves you in what we are assuming is Korean. And he's like, and Dipper's like, hey, look, Mabel, I'm sorry about this. It's my fault your puppets got ruined. And she's like, well, one survived. It's the Mabel puppet. And she has something to say to you. He's like, I'm sorry, Dipper. I spent all week obsessing over a dumb guy. And the dumb guy I should have cared about was you. Bap. She's like, mystery twins? He's like, yeah, mystery twins. They bump hands. And Dipper's like, ow, what did Bill do to my hand? And Mabel's like, nothing a little sleep can't fix. It's like, come on, bro, let's go home. And Dipper's like, looking terrible. He's like, seriously, I need to go to the hospital. The end credit scene is Mystery Twins puppets. It's a joke. What did the one sock puppet say to the other sock puppet? He's like, I don't know, Mabel. What? You look like you could use a hand. Ha ha ha. And we cut over to McGucket and Grunkle sitting in a balcony, very Stantler and Waldorf style. And he's like, that joke sure was something. He's like, yeah, something terrible. And so it was good. I like it. Mabel wakes up from her dream and she throws away, well, she turns the sock puppet away from her. And it's good. It's good times. I enjoy it. And that's the episode. All over. Not a terrible episode. I just really don't like Gabe at all.
I honestly really like. I actually like this episode quite a bit. I think it's a lot of fun. Like Gabe sucks, but like he is the butt of the joke in all of his scenes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like Gabe is all like it's like from like Mabel has a crush on him, but like from our perspective, Gabe is always fucking weird.
Yeah. I don't know. He just brings the whole episode down for me. It's still a good episode. It's just like,
But we get the return of Bill. So this is the first time Bill shows up in the second season.
Yeah.
And he is going to recur this year. Well, or this season.
Yes, because he is the main antagonist and always has been.
Yeah, basically.
Let's see. I'm not going to read all the passwords that Dipper has tried, because there's a lot of them. Let's see. The cryptograms this week read, pure energy, not skin and bone, rising like a shepherd's tone. And we've all had some fun tonight, but let's not forget who the real puppet masters are. Reptoids who have infiltrated our government. Finally, no puppet strings can hold me down, so patiently I watch this town. Abnormal will soon be the norm. Enjoy the calm before the storm. Which is foreshadowing. Big foreshadowing.
I've always said that if reptoids turn out to be real, and I'm not one, I'm going to be awfully disappointed.
Yeah, not good. Let's take a look at Twitter. Did we get any questions this week? No, we did not. So I've got nothing else to talk about. What about you?
Okay. No, good episode. If nothing else, you should watch it for the myth arc.
Yeah.
There's episodes that you can skip.
This is not one of them.
This one is important to the plot.
Yeah.
Like last week was just character development, the golf episode, but it's not really important to the overall plot of the show. But this one is important. It's important to the storyline of the show.
Yes,
this because it's a major appearance by Bill, and we did just mention that we didn't get any questions on Twitter. Before we record, we always make a tweet saying that we're going to record tonight, and
boy, I sure
if you have questions, you can send them into the show.
Yeah, but you definitely, like, anytime, just send them whatever questions. You know, generally I say, you know, you can ask us about these things, but feel free to ask us about, you know, anything Gravity Falls related. Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, that is it. That's it for me, for this episode. Good episode, overall, just one character I don't like, and we never really have to see him again, like, for real.
I'm pretty sure he never comes back.
I think he's a background character somewhere.
He might have a cameo.
I think he has maybe a couple cameos, but nothing like he doesn't say anything. Is what I'm getting at. Yeah. Let's see. Next week we get Soos and the Real Girl, which I like that episode a lot. It has the lowest viewer rating, like the least amount of people tuned in for this one when it was when it came out.
Which sucks because first of all, Soos is one of the best characters on the show. Soos is my favorite character on the show.
He's a great character.
It is a completely Soos focused episode, which is a ton of fun. The artist who did the animation for Fight Fighters is back, and he does a video game character in this episode. And his animation is gorgeous to look at.
It's really good.
The amount of time I've spent looking at looping GIFs on LiveJournal in DeviantArt of that guy's art is almost more than I'd like to admit. Because it's just gorgeous. It's a treat to look at. And it's really funny. There's a lot of great jokes. I mean, we'll get to it next week. But Soos the Real Girl is a great episode.
It is great. Let's see. One of my favorite episodes is coming up like 3 episodes after that. Blendin's Game, great episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hey Doc, where can people find you online if they want to talk to you about stuff?
I am on Twitter way too much. I'm at Dr. C Monster. That is at DRC Monster. Come and find me on Twitter, where I'm still not done reblogging stuff about 4 Seasons landscaping.
The best part about that is, you know, that they put out the press conference, or they put out the news of the press conference about 4 Seasons without calling the hotel first to make sure to like to reserve that. You know that's what happened, and they just had to like do something, anything to get something called the 4 Seasons. It's next to a crematorium and a porno store. Perfect.
I feel bad for the porno store owner.
Oh yeah, I do.
Because he keeps getting crank calls.
He is? That's terrible.
Yeah, people are like crank calling him. It's like, hey, is Rudy Giuliani there? Which, okay, crank call the Republicans as much as you want, and like the voter fraud hotline.
Oh, I've been doing that.
Trump set up.
That's my favorite.
Oh yeah, I left a pretty good one, I think.
Look, Alex Hirsch, who obviously, because we do the show, is our Lord and Master, put out the call, and I just, I answered it.
I did a man, woman, person, camera, TV routine.
I did cigarettes for legs.
I have no fucking idea what that means,
okay.
But it's funny. I don't know what that means, but it's funny.
There's a podcast that I listen to. It's called The Best Show. It's done by Tom Sharpling, who is the voice of Greg Universe and Jermaine the Dog for Cartoon Network properties that you might recognize.
Sure.
And every so often somebody will call him up and they'll get him into the story. And he sometimes it's like, hey, wait a minute, you're telling me a story. This isn't fucking cigarettes for legs. And they're like, no, it's not. So they'll get to like the end of the story, and the story always ends. And so I look down, and they have cigarettes for legs. And it's like the best. It's my favorite. And that person was so mad at me. It's the best.
I can barely get through to the hotline though, because man, is that people are blowing that up. It's great.
they've changed the number a couple times. So, where can you
I
find
ought to
me?
check and see what the most recent one is.
You can find
Where
me.
can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, as always, at DatFirePrincess, which is spelled D-A-T. You can find me on my numerous podcasts, including the new one I'm starting because I'm insane, the Sentai Super Show. Me and my friend, Justice Ray. It's going to be this, but for Super Sentai, only we're doing it in random. We've already spun the wheel, so our first season will be Gal Ranger, which was Wild Force Power Rangers in the US. So we're excited for that. I actually didn't watch Wild Force, so this is all new to me.
Wild Force was very good. It's just a shame that the guy playing the main character turned out to be a murderer.
Oh, is that guy?
That guy.
Well, I have no idea if anybody from the Japanese cast murdered anybody.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But no, Wild Force was really good. The dub of the American version of Wild Force was good.
So, yeah. So, until next time, remember... Oh, go ahead.
There's an antagonist that has a sword that's just a giant black crescent blade.
Nice.
It is so cool.
That is cool. All right. Until next time, remember...
Reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Bye, gold. Bye!
Bye!
Hey, Dipper, what did one sock puppet say to the other sock puppet?
I don't know, Mabel. What?
You look like you could use a hand.
That joke was really something. Yeah, something terrible.